Yeah, in this video I'll show you step by step how to hang a door from A to C. We start by determining the hinge side and checking which side is the bottom of the door. You do this by measuring where the lock case is positioned. The door handle should be 105 cm measured from the bottom of the door. On the hinge side, mark the top and hinge side as a reference, and if necessary, you can also mark the hinge knuckle side. Once this is done, we'll start fitting the door. Place the door in the frame and wedge it at the bottom and lock side. Then mark the door using the side of your folding rule, which has a thickness of 5 mm. Guide it along the underside of the top frame and then mark the top and closing side of the door. Now that the door is marked, we can saw it to size. For a neat finish, we bevel the lock side slightly at an angle of 1 to 2 degrees. Keep the guide rail aligned with the marked line and you're ready to start sawing. Before sawing the top side, reset the saw back to 0 degrees. Now that the door has been fitted, we can begin routing, starting with the frame. Make sure that the stop lip on top of the routing jig is aligned properly with the jig and sits tightly against the underside of the top frame. Then screw the set securely in place. Make sure your router is equipped with a guide push with an outer diameter of 24 mm and an 80 mm router bit. Before routing, we need to set the routing depth. We do this by determining the 0 point and then placing the hinge between the depth gauge of the router. Now we're ready to route. Only switch on the router once it is positioned on the jig and switch it off before removing it to prevent damage to the frame or the jig. Once all hinge recesses have been routed, remove the jig set from the frame and move on to the door. Now rotate the stop lip a quarter turn and hook it behind the top of the door. Make sure that the rail sits tightly against the door. Once it is properly positioned, screw the set in place and you are ready to route the hinge recesses in the door. When all hinges have been routed, remove the set from the door and install the hinges. First pre-drill the screw holes using self-centering drill bits, so that the screw heads sit perfectly centered in the hinge holes. Once this is done, repeat the same process on the frame and you're ready to hang the door in the frame. Ask for assistance if needed. Once the door is hanging, we move on to routing the lock recess. We are using a passage lock, so we only need to route the door handle opening and clean up the faceplate recess. Center the faceplate routing jig on the recess in the door. Screw it into place, clamp the side plates tightly against the side of the door and tighten the Allen screws. Now we are ready to route again. First determine the 0 point on the unrouted side of the door and place the lock faceplate between the depth spacers. Once the faceplate recess had been routed, adjust the depth and route the handle opening from both sides of the door. When this is completed, remove the jig from the door and place the lock into the door. Then pre-drill the screw holes and fasten the lock with screws. Now the final step is routing the strike plate recess in the frame. Mark the top and bottom of the latch bolt on the frame and continue the lines on the frame. Next, take the routing jig and align the lines you just marked with the markings on the jig. Then screw the jig into place. Set the router depth again, using the strike plate as a reference, and you're ready to route. After routing, place the strike plate into the recess and trace the lip with a Stanley knife. We deliberately route the lip recess slightly smaller because this small finish step gives a cleaner end result. Once that's done, screw the strike plate into the frame. Now for the very last step, chiseling out the latch pocket in the frame. We use a 6mm and a 24mm chisel for this. Make sure to chisel the pocket at the opposite angle of the latch bevel in the lock. This allows the latch to slide smoothly into the angled recess and prevents the door from rattling. And there you have it, the door is hung. Thanks for watching this video, and if you have any questions, you know where to find us.